Going live. And we are live. You may call the meeting to order.
Good morning. I would like to call the April 9th meeting of the Academic and Student Affairs Committee to order. And I welcome all of you on this beautiful spring day, and hopefully we'll have many more of them and not all of a sudden have a crash into a dreary May. So let's hope there's many more ahead of us. It looks like we have a very long agenda, but a lot of them are items are program modifications. I would ask our speakers to move through them quickly and sort of add to what is in the book itself so that we have more explanation and leave time for questions so we can get through everything in a timely manner. The first item of business is approval of the minutes of March 12th. May I have a motion?
So move.
Okay, I guess I have a motion and a second there, Pat.
Yes.
Any additions, corrections, changes? Then I will vote. All in favor of the minutes before here?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone not approved? The motion carries. Okay, let's go on to the consent agenda. There are 3 items. May I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Any, well, actually, there's no need for questions because it's the consent items. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. On to the action items. The first is accreditation of a licensed program in theater arts at Capital Community College, and it's on page 25 of your agenda book. I will ask Ken Klusnick to present for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Harris, and good morning, everyone. Enjoy some of that weather. So, Capital Community College seeks accreditation of a licensed program in theater arts leading to an Associate of Arts. I want to say up front that the resolution incorrectly asks the board to grant continued accreditation when it should read accreditation of a licensed program, since the program was previously approved by the board only for licensure. I ask that the committee consider amending the resolution accordingly prior to taking action. And the documents have already been updated so that they will be ready to be forwarded to the BOR, the correct documents for initial accreditation of the program. Capitol Theater's Arts AA program is uniquely positioned to meet the needs of Greater Hartford's cultural institutions and theaters. Hartford is home to a thriving theater scene represented by major performing arts institutions. Dean LaPierre Drager will speak to the proposal and introduce colleagues to elaborate and answer questions as needed.
Thank you, Dr. Klusnick. Can you all hear me? Great, thanks. I am Dr. Maya LaPierre Drager. I'm the Dean of Academic and Student Affairs here at Capital Community College. And with me, I also have Dr. Jeff Partridge, who's the chair of the Humanities Department, and Professor Julia Rosenblatt, who's the coordinator of the Theater Arts program. I'm going to give an overview and a presentation about the program, and then we will open it up for the 3 of us to answer any questions that you may have. So as Ken Klusnick indicated, our program is seeking accreditation for the Theater Arts program. We previously received licensure for this program. This program does prepare graduates for entry-level employment in various aspects of theater production, including performance, stage and production management, and technical aspects of stagecraft, such as lighting, sound, set design, costume design, etc. This program is one of 2 community colleges in the state that have a theater arts program. The other is Housatonic down in the southern part of the state. In addition to the theater arts TAP pathway program, this also articulates into Central's Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Fine Arts in Theater. And we're working on articulations with UConn's Theater Arts program as well as Southern and Eastern. In addition, this program utilizes a place-based instructional methodology, so it has a unique connection to the hands-on approach of the theaters in the Hartford area. It provides an immersive experience for students. And as you might imagine, COVID has had a significant impact on this program in the past year. However, even with that, we have persevered, and additional data that is currently available in terms of outlook does suggest that the program, that aspects of the theater arts industry are projected to grow at or faster than average in the coming years. As we said, this program is uniquely positioned to meet needs in the Hartford area. As you know, there are many theaters in the area that we work with. We also have several unique pipelines that we're working on. In particular, we're developing apprenticeship and job pipelines with Hartford Stage, and we're working on one with TheaterWorks. This program does have a cross-disciplinary impact at the college with partnerships with our nursing program, for instance, where theater students enact as if they were patients. The nursing students perform assessments of those patients that are the theater students. There are others, but I'll be brief. In terms of diversity, this program also is uniquely positioned to meet the needs of equity and diversity in the region and in the theater industry, with an increased push to have more BIPOC individuals in that theater industry. Capital's program at the time of the presentation was at 95% BIPOC. We are now at 100% in our student population within the program. We've had numerous curriculum enhancements over the past few years. We've added a few new courses. We've enhanced the externship and internship experiences. We have an annual production that we put on. Now that it's COVID, we've had to do it remotely, but it's been a great success. Thank you to Julia and her team. In terms of enrollment, the program had a much slower start than we had anticipated. You'll notice that in the numbers. That was really due to the fact that the college was not able to onboard an expert to oversee this program for 2 years. So while valiant efforts were made, the program is led by an English professor, and it really struggled at the very beginning. But once Professor Julia came on board, the program really started to grow significantly. And then, of course, COVID hit, which flattened us back out again. So it has had some fits and starts at the beginning, but we're very confident that in the coming years, these numbers are going to increase significantly. We're going to be coming back on campus this fall for in-person instruction. And we have the merger coming up, which opens us up to a larger body of students across the state. So we are expecting significant program growth in terms of enrollment. And then just to wrap up in terms of fiscal projections, because of the changes that we've made to the program and our expected projections, we do anticipate over the next 3 years that this program will have a net profit of about $130,000. So we are confident that though the numbers currently this year are underperforming in terms of the revenue, we believe that that's going to change very soon. So with that, I'll open it up for any additional questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll throw it open to questions in a minute. I didn't take a motion to begin with because there was a change in the motion, as you just heard from Ken Klesnick, and I think Aviva may want to make an additional amendment. So why don't I take a formal motion on what we just heard? Do you want to read that again, Ken?
Go ahead. Merle, am I on or is Ken?
I'm going to ask Ken just to read the motion as it is, and then you can ask her. You can add your language.
The current motion reads that the Board of Regents for Higher Education grant continued accreditation of a program in theater arts. And I am asking that it be amended that the Board of Regents for Higher Education grant accreditation of a licensed program in theater arts.
Okay, Aviva, you want to add something?
I think what we need to do is move that and then Aviva and get a second, and then Aviva can make her amendment.
Okay.
So I'll move that.
Let's move what we just heard. May I have so move that motion?
Yeah, and
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Now, Aviva, do you want to make an amendment to that? You're on mute. Aviva, you're on mute.
Sorry, the licensure is for 7 semesters. Is that what your proposed amendment says?
No,
Because it says licensure now.
no,
No.
it says
it was a corrected, it's accreditation. They were not going for licensure, they're already licensed. So
I
it's
see, fine.
accreditation.
I think that given your, from what I can see, excuse me, I didn't realize. From what I can see, the enrollment for the fall is a projection, correct? You don't have fall enrollment yet, right? So I think that the lack of enrollment, I think this should be again a 7-semester review or some earlier review of how you do. We like the program very much. I just want to make sure that we're not incurring a new, expenditures and difficulties in a program that's not going to be sustainable. So let's look at that. We think that the purpose of the program and the involvement in the community is terrific, but we'd like to just see how we can get more people. I think the projection is wonderful. If you can get 30 people in this program, that'll be a great program. So I guess I would move that it be reviewed again in 2 years, which would be 4 or 5 semesters.
After 7 semesters is traditionally what we've been doing, and I
Fine,
think
then we'll do 7 semesters.
Second,
Could they report to us within a couple years?
I think they need the time, and it also makes it difficult tracking it. If we get
Okay.
7, I think we should do 7. Just
7, fine. 7 is fine.
Chair Harris, could I just ask for a point of clarification?
yes.
That's going to complicate. We're at the point right now where this program will be a Connecticut State Community College program at that time. That's the fall of 2024, and it will have been a Connecticut State Community College program for a year at that time. So I don't know how the committee wants to proceed with that knowledge, but this program will become fully aligned and will likely not be the same exact program. And then its enrollment numbers will be consolidated if it's aligned with the Housatonic program. It will be consolidated with the Housatonic program numbers. Just some of the complications we're going to be facing as we bridge that move from spring 2023 to fall 2023.
But I think that's okay. So we'll look at it as the aligned program at that point. It'll give us a better picture. In fact, it's better doing it that way than doing it and then doing it again.
So with your permission, I would include something like that in the language of the resolution, with the understanding that the theater arts program of Connecticut State Community College will come back for accreditation on the fall of 2024 is where we would be at that point, because this program won't exist technically. Its OHE number will be gone. Everything that makes this a legacy program will be gone in fall of 2024.
We're probably going to have that issue with other programs as we move along. So we should think, I would like you to make sure that we have the appropriate language that doesn't get us into this.
Sure.
So, perhaps you have the concept we're trying to do. Perhaps we can, you can send us back the appropriate language before this goes to the board.
Yes,
Okay.
I'll do that, Chair Harris. And just so you know, point of information, and Dean LaPierre-Drager has been one of the participants. We've been working with the Dean's Council for community college deans to really figure out the logistics behind or around surrounding this transition from spring 23 to fall 23.
Right. And I think that what we just heard is a perfect example why this it's really important. There are 2 colleges now struggling with not enough enrollment. Once it's one institution, they'll be able to share faculty more easily and get students from across the state under that one umbrella. So and this is probably one of the best examples of why a single college makes a lot of sense. I'm trying. First, let's see if there are any other questions before we decide exactly how to vote on this. Welcome, Professor Rosenblatt. We are glad to have you here and helping us build this program.
Thank you.
I have one question, and I guess this also will be simplified. Right now, why isn't this a TAP program when we have a TAP program? And why do you have to go to 4 institutions separately and develop articulation agreements?
It does have a TAP pathway. My reason for going to each of the colleges is just that each of the theater programs are pretty unique. And so I'm developing relationships with the heads of those programs just so I can better advise my students.
Okay, Naomi, will you be our parliamentarian? How do you suggest we vote on this, because we don't have the exact language?
What I suggest is that we, Aviva withdraws her amendment and I withdraw my second. We vote on the amended motion. When it comes to the board, we have the correct motion. We bring it up at the board and we say to the board, the committee agreed, but we didn't have language at the time. So we don't put this on consent and we just vote it as amended at the board.
Okay,
And the minutes reflect that that's what we're going to do. So we have a record of how we handled it.
okay, so we're Aviva, will you withdraw your motion?
I withdraw the motion to amend the,
And I withdraw my
Resolution.
second in case I was the one.
And we're voting on what was just said, that we will approve this in accordance with some rewritten language, that we will look at it before we bring it to the board, and I will do it as a separate item under my report.
That's what I would do.
Okay. All in favor of that motion?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, thank you very much and good luck.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Let me mute this.
The next item on the agenda under program modifications is the Master of Fine Arts in Creative and Professional Writing, an MFA at Western Connecticut State University, on page 40 of your agenda. Dr. Klusnick.
Thank you, Chair Harris. Western Connecticut State University seeks approval for a modification of instructional modality in a program in creative and professional writing, namely a change from hybrid to online modality, leading to a Master of Fine Arts. Provost Alexander will speak to the proposal and introduce colleagues to elaborate and answer questions as needed.
Good morning. Thank you for taking the time with this agenda item. I will be very brief. What this really is a cleanup. The language for this program, when it was approved, was called low residency. And the low residency has to do with our 2 points in the year when students in this program come to campus. Or last year, before COVID, they went to Dublin, actually, to have an in-person experience with coaching and meeting with various writers and professionals. But the instruction has been online throughout. When it was approved, the way it was to be described, as was convention, was low residency. As definitions have changed, it is clear that this should be described as online, and that is what we are seeking to do. But the program itself has existed and has been highly successful in this format for many years.
Thank you. Pat, did I take a motion in that? I don't believe I did. I'll have a motion to approve that modification.
So moved.
Second. Okay, are there any questions before we vote on that motion?
So the question is, this is online going forward after, please God, COVID is gone. We're still.
Yes, it has been all along and it will stay that way.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? We have a motion and a second. All in favor of the motion to approve the modification to online for the Master in Fine Arts in Creative and Professional Writing, an MFA at Western Connecticut State University.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The motion carries. Thank you. We have a number of programs at Capital Community College. Three of them are in social services, so why don't we kind of take those all together? And then we'll vote separately on each one of them, but we can do the discussion together. So I will wait for motions until we finish the introductions and questions. Is that acceptable? Okay, then let's start with those. The first one is an AS, a Capital Community College, and it's a name change. And a lot of these are just name changes, basically. Dr. Kluth,
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Chair Harris. For everybody, I know you struggle with my name. It's actually Kluchnik, if you can remember. But I hear it in all versions, so I answer to all versions of it. So actually, Chair Harris, it's the next four I'd like to take as a block. It's 2 through 5 in the Roman numerals, and they all. The request is the same for all of them. They're all requesting a name change, and there are no other changes in the proposals. So if we could take 3B2 through 3B5 together, that's what I'll be introducing. It's just a brief introduction. Capital Community College existing programs leading to 3 Associate of Science degrees and 1 certificate. Dean LaPierre Drager once again will speak to these proposals and introduce colleagues to elaborate and answer questions as needed.
Hello again. You're seeing a lot of me this morning. Thank you, Dr. Klusnik. Yes, there are 4 programs from Capital. Formerly, these were known as the social services programs. There's an associate degree, which is the parent program, a certificate in social service aid, an associate option in family and child studies, and an associate option in mental health. The only change here is that system-wide, these social services programs are known as human services programs. And in an effort to align our program more appropriately in preparation for the consolidation merger, we are changing our name to human services instead of social services for all of them. That's all.
any questions? Okay, then let's quickly take motions on each and vote on those motions. The first is the social service aid, a C2 certificate at Capital Community College. May I have a
So moved.
a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The next one is social services, family and child studies option, an AS at Capital Community College. Again, just heard about that one. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay. Now,
We have to vote.
number 5 is social services mental health option and AS at Capital Community College. May I have a motion?
We have to vote on the last motion.
We have to vote on the last motion.
Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. I'm getting so much feedback. I don't know if you are, but I am, that I've tried to correct it and I'm not being very successful. Okay, the motion on 4. Let's all in favor.
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 5, a motion, please.
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Oh, okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? I'm not sure I got, I'm not sure I got all of them. Did I?
It's number 2, Chair Harris. That
Yes, I did. Yeah.
so number 2, please.
Yes, that's what I thought. On page 43, number 2, social science AS, the Capital Community College, a name change to human services. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
What opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Now we have emergency medical technician. We have 3 actions related to that field, 6, 7, and 8. Again, I think we'll have one discussion and then we will move for 3 separate actions. Dr. Kluchnik.
No.
Thanks, Chair Harris. Capital Community College seeks approval of a name change to 3 programs, 2 Associate of Science degrees, and 1 certificate to more accurately reflect the content of and industry standards for these programs. Once again, Dean LaPierre Drager.
Hello again. So this program, these again, it's a core degree and different options. Formerly, these were known as emergency medical technician / paramedic. The industry removed the EMT from the paramedic title because EMT is a really separate type of credential. It's an entry-level credential in the field. You have to be an EMT for a number of years and several hundred hours before you can even apply it into a paramedic program. So the only name change is that these would be called paramedic studies. That's all.
Questions? Okay, then hearing no questions, let's go to action on number 6. May I have a motion?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Just
7.
for you to know that Holly and I are taking our show on the road after this.
Good. I'm not coming along. Emergency medical technician paramedic, that's 7. That's a C3 certificate. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carried. How about 8, paramedic emergency medical instructor option, that's associate at Capital Community College. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, we're moving on to Deaf Studies, a C2 certificate at Northwestern Connecticut Community College. And this shows how technology really makes a difference in life. It's the C2 certificate, and this has been a program at Northwestern for years, but of course it was isolated more to one section of the state. May I have a motion?
I so move.
A second?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Dr. Kluchnik.
Thank you, Chair Harris. Northwestern Connecticut Community College seeks approval for a modification of instructional modality and a program in deaf studies leading to a C2 certificate. To elaborate and answer questions as needed.
Good morning, Chair Harris and Regents. With this program, actually, the Deaf Studies is a stackable certificate into our interpreter training program, which is the next agenda item. So the interpreter training program in Deaf Studies is actually on, it's been a low completer, as you mentioned, it's in a remote area. And so what we are doing is, response to it is with Dr. Bement, is to move this program into an online modality so that we can actually expand our demographic reach throughout the state and over into the NEBI region as well. So just a couple of things to note as far as what we're working on to also grow the program is we're in collaboration with Charter Oak State College to do an articulation into a bachelor's degree, and that may come down sometime in the coming months. That we have been working with the enrollment management team of Connecticut State Community College to market this program as Connecticut State Community College Northwestern Campus statewide program. And Dr. Bement can talk about the results of that. So I think between these pieces, it really will help the program be very viable in the future. To kind of give an example, 26,100 searches each month on Google for Learn Sign Language Online. But yet there's no online program. So this can really be not only a regional, but a national program to really fit that market need. And so I give a lot of credit to Dr. Bement for making this move. So Dr. Bement, anything to add?
I'm just I'll make sure I'm not muted. Just in addition to what David said, this all happened because of COVID. So it was a positive thing in the sense that we are teaching a lot of the courses in LRON, the ASL classes, a lot of the theory classes are LRON, and we're also using a HighFlex with the upper level interpreting classes that I teach. And as Dave mentioned, our marketing campaign, we've actually increased our enrollment in the program by 3 times. I now have like 15 students going into the program for the fall. The last couple of years, we've only had 4, maybe 5. In addition to that, the Connecticut Registry of Interpreters for the Deaf, which is our organization, they suggested that I reach out to get a more diverse population. And as a result of reaching out to some of the organizations that support people of color, I now have more people of color than I do white people in the program. So it's really working very well. I have students coming from New York, from New Jersey, all over Connecticut. And one of the biggest problems, and I've been in this program, I was a graduate myself many years ago. And the biggest problem people always say is Northwestern's so far away. So now, because of being online, the students seem to enjoy it. And the High Flux is working very well for the upper level interpreting classes. And Dave's been working with me with that to get more students involved. And the increase for interpreters, it's amazing how many people. There's like 5 different organizations right now that are referral agencies for interpreting just in Connecticut. And I get emails from them constantly. A lot of workshops are opening up. The other thing too is that we're also, with the expansion with Charter Oak, in order to become a certified interpreter, fully certified, you have to have a bachelor's degree. So I work very closely with them, and this is just going to be a seamless transfer, excuse me, right into Charter Oak. And I think it's going to be pretty amazing. A lot of students end up getting their bachelor's degree in things other than interpreting. So they spend all that time working on that and then not being able to continue their skills. So I believe this is really going to increase our enrollment even more, having that connection that they can go right in. I have 3 students graduating in the spring, and all 3 of them want to go to Charter Oak. So we're hoping that'll pass quickly as well.
Good.
So,
That's wonderful. That's wonderful.
it's just, I'm in awe, because the program, when I was a student, it was like you had to try out to get into the program kind of thing. So it's going to get back to that, I believe. I'm hoping I'll be able to offer the classes right now. Where we're doing the 717, and it works really well. I've got a lot of really very good positive feedback from the students saying how it's like a total immersion. They take ASL 1, they go right into ASL 2, right into ASL 3. We have courses during the summer. And it's really, it's amazing how much is picking up. And I've been trying to keep track of students when they contact me is, where did you hear about us? How did you hear about us? And I'm going to be starting making some forms and things for students to fill out, surveys and things, so we can keep track of it even more so.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We're really pleased that you're taking advantage of this new environment we're living in. It's wonderful, and it's wonderful for students and for the whole field having an increase in the number of qualified interpreters. So thank you very much. I'll take a vote on the motion that we have, and we'll make a motion for the next one. We need a lot of additional discussion. Are there any questions on the E2 certificate?
No, I just wanted to thank you for this is such sounds like a great program that is getting better and better, and thank you for your innovation. It's easy to look at the last year and be it's all change, and yet you looked at it and you were able to increase the program, and it's going to get nothing but bigger going forward. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Holly. Well-deserved compliment. I will have a vote on the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The motion carries. The next one, I need a motion on the interpreter training program in AS at Northwestern Community College, the same modification in instructional delivery. Motion.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Okay, I don't think there's any additional discussion needed. Anyone have a question? Okay, all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The motion carries. Thank you very much again, and good luck. We really are pleased that you're moving in the direction you are. It's wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you, Regents.
Thank you very much.
Item 11, is the Master of Business Administration, an MBA at Southern Connecticut State University. This is a significant modification of courses and an addition of an online modality. One good thing about COVID is we're moving online quickly. And on every, there's always a silver lining to our problems. Dr. Klutznick.
Thank you, Chair Harris.
Let me take a motion first. Let me just take a motion.
Sure.
May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, motion a second. Okay, take it away.
Okay, Southern Connecticut State University seeks approval of a program modification, including the addition of current business practice expects MBA graduates to integrate the various business disciplines in solving business corporate problems. The proposed program change does that by introducing 2 new integrative knowledge courses to help students learn an integrated approach to analyzing and solving problems and to prepare them to actually use these skills to solve real-world business challenges. Associate Vice President Trudy Milburn will speak to this proposal and introduce colleagues to elaborate and answer questions as needed.
Thank you, Ken. I'll actually turn it straight over to my colleagues, Dean Jim Thorson and Chair Professor Adam Abergi.
Thank you very much. The traditional business education has evolved over the past couple of decades. It's traditionally been silos of knowledge. We have economics, finance, accounting. The problem is business problems do not exist in silos. So when businesses have problems, we need to bring in marketing, accounting, finance, economics, all these different categories of skills. And so this revision to the MBA program addresses those concerns. Also, the revisions have been informed by alumni surveys. And so we've brought people through our program, then we go back and talk to them, and we find that really it's utilizing all of these skills together is what makes an MBA very, very powerful. And it also has 12 fewer credits, which keeps us in line with our competitors. That our competitors' MBA programs have fewer courses, so that is the other change. And if there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
That's fine.
Any questions? Okay, hearing none. I will have a vote on the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Thank you. The entire online modality, I know I've seen a few of our competitors, major competitors, doing that. So I think it's really important at the master's level that we pursue completely online programs. Item number 12, a Spanish program at BA. It's going to become a BS. It's a BA and a BS now at Southern Connecticut State University. There is a significant modification of courses here and course substitutions. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, a motion and a second. Dr. Klutznick.
Thank you, Chair Harris. Southern Connecticut State University seeks approval of a program modification in Spanish leading to a Bachelor's of Science and of Arts into 1 Bachelor of Science with 4 concentrations. Once again, Associate Vice President Trudy Milburn.
Thank you, Ken. I'll turn this right over to Dean Bruce Kalk and his colleagues.
Thank you very much. And I'm joined today by Professor Malwei Wang and Professor Raisha Cardone of the World Languages and Literatures Department. Overall, this proposal represents a curricular overhaul to more directly address workforce needs. As an aspiring Hispanic serving institution and a university dedicated to social justice, we need to accommodate the ever-increasing percentage of Connecticut residents whose native tongue is Spanish. The Department of World Languages and Literatures aims to eliminate its BA degree and establish 4 concentrations in the BS degree to ensure that Spanish majors are better positioned for the 21st century job market. The concentrations are Health and Human Services Professionals, Spanish for Translation Studies, Hispanic Studies, and finally, the Traditional Teacher Certification Program. I'll gladly take any questions. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay, hearing none, I'll have a vote on the motion. All in favor of the approval of the change to a Bachelor of Science degree with 4 concentrations in Spanish at Southern Connecticut State University.
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's a good move. The last item on modifications is school health education, a Master of Science degree at Southern Connecticut State University. And this is an addition of an online instructional modality. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Okay, Dr. Kutznick.
Southern Connecticut State University seeks approval of a program modification, namely the addition of online modality in school health education leading to a Master of Science. And yet again, Associate Vice President Trudy Milburn.
Thank you, Ken, and I'll turn it directly to Dean Sandy Bulmer to give the rationale.
Hello, everyone. I'm sorry you've caught me between things, so I'm actually pulled over on the side of the road in my car. I'm really pleased, though, to provide you with this proposal to change our school health education master's program to a fully online delivery. The whole profession of school health education has undergone a tremendous transformation in the last decade as K through 12 schools have attempted to gain efficiencies. They have transitioned really to using primarily physical education teachers who have a bachelor's degree in physical education and cross endorsement in school health education. And what that has done, unfortunately, is really left our school health educators in Connecticut woefully unprepared for the work that they're being asked to do as we look at increasing challenges with mental and physical and social emotional health among our children and our adolescents. So this graduate program in school health education really fills that gap. It's a program that allows physical education bachelor's degree prepared students to do a master's degree that truly allows them to be better at the jobs they're being asked to do in the school system. So as they do and select a master's degree after completing their bachelor's in physical education, selecting the school health education degree gives them tremendous additional preparation to do the job that they're being asked to do, which is to teach both physical education and school health education. We've been slowly evolving with this program and responding to needs based on focus groups and other types of data. We are looking to move to a fully online modality so that we can not only better serve our current students, but be able to expand. This is one of very few programs in the country. So making this program more accessible to other states will be a wonderful addition to the program. It'll definitely result in more enrollment potential. And finally, we recently developed a 4+1 with our bachelor's degree in physical education. And we had an external site review recently, and we were told that this was a tremendously unique action that we had taken, making us the only program in the country that's doing this. So it's an exciting time for school health education, and we appreciate your support in making this final revision. I'll be happy to take your questions.
Are there any questions? Regent Cohen?
What's the experience before we do this of phys ed majors graduating and continuing on versus graduating and going right to work?
Well, they actually, thank you, Naomi, for asking that. They actually do complete their work. I'm sorry, I'm being asked by a policeman to address being pulled over on the side of the road. I'm so sorry. They are actually working while they're doing this program. I'm going to go ahead and go off camera here.
Hi, Steve, please. Is everything okay?
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I had to.
I'm just
respond to this
impressed that
call,
she
and I
knows
just
how to
wanted
do this in her
driving.
car.
So I
Did we lose? I think, yeah. Did we?
We're okay. I just wanted to make sure I was okay. Sorry about that. That's a first.
Adds a little local color to the meeting, you know?
That's why I just wanted
I stopped and checked. That was very
Yeah,
nice to make sure
we're
you were
very
okay.
nice.
We
It
don't
was a
see that
very
every
nice
day.
courtesy.
Right.
Yeah. So I took a vacation day today, and that's what I get. But I actually, Naomi, all of our students will be working while they're doing this graduate program, which makes it even more important that it be online. We have been doing this in the evening, but it's still difficult for them to travel to campus. So they are working physical education teachers who are teaching school health and are very uncomfortable. And so this master's program is so wonderful. I'm a health educator myself, so I sat in their classes and observed, and they just blossom over the course of this program as they get more and more confident teaching sex education and all kinds of things that they just didn't get prepared to do as physical educators. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. It sounds great.
We're excited.
Sounds like it meets a big need. So.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, may I have a vote on the motion to approve the modification in the school health education MS at Southern Connecticut State University? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you and enjoy your vacation.
Thank you. You too. Bye.
Okay, new programs. The first one is clinical documentation improvement, a C3 certificate at Charter Oak State College. It's on page 97, and may I have a motion?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Dr. Kuchnik.
Thank you, Chair Harris. Charter Oak State College seeks approval of a new program in clinical documentation improvement leading to a C3 certificate. Hospitals are implementing clinical documentation improvement programs to solve issues that occur due to incomplete or ineffective documentation, yet there is a lack of college programs that teach the skills needed for this role in healthcare organizations. Clinical documentation improvement is a growing area in healthcare that is related to nursing, health information management, and medical coding, all of which are current programs at Charter Oak State College. Provost Adams will speak to this proposal and introduce colleagues to elaborate and answer questions as needed. Provost Adams.
Thank you, Ken. So I'm really just going to turn it over to Cindy and speak to this far better than I can. So Cindy.
Hi, everyone. I'm Cindy Edgerton, and I'm the Program Director of the Health Information Management Program and Healthcare Administration Programs at Charter Oak. And so you heard the little brief explanation of what clinical documentation improvement is, and I'll call it CDI from here on out. That's what it's known for in the healthcare world. But through years of research and auditing of insurance claims, it's been discovered easily that many claims are denied unnecessarily. And one of the biggest reasons for that is because of lack of accurate or complete documentation in the patient's medical record. So probably over the last decade, for sure over the last 5 years, has really emerged this new profession of clinical documentation improvement. And so CDI specialists have had really great success in recouping some of the denied revenue, and oftentimes being able to fix the issues before the claim is even sent. And so therefore preventing some of those claims denials. And one of the big parts of it is also them, the CDI specialists, educating the providers in how to document better and why it's important and what needs to be included in the documentation so that these claims can be submitted and then reimbursed appropriately. So we were approached by two experts in the field. One of them is actually a very well-known expert in CDI. He does webinars, weekly webinars on this that are very well attended from people across the country. And he approached us because as far as we know, there is no college program in CDI. So organizations are really having to grow their own CDI specialists, which obviously takes time and resources and perhaps, you know, people that they don't have to spend time training. And they were looking for a college who would partner with them and be open to exploring a CDI certificate. And I jumped on that really quickly because it was already in the back of my head that this would be a really good fit at Charter Oak. So I had several meetings with those two people and we kind of hashed out what a certificate would look like. And the really exciting thing was that we came up with 11 courses and 6 of them we already have at Charter Oak. So it was really just the addition of 5 new courses that we would need to develop to get us to this really nice, robust CDI certificate that we think we may be the only college in the country who has it. We've done several searches, many searches, and I just can't find any other college who has it. So that would be exciting, I think, to be the first and only. So it's also just a really good fit because it meshes really well with the programs that we already have, including the RN to BSN program, because many of these professionals do have a nursing background. And with that, I'm not sure if I forgot anything important, Shirley, but with that, I can open it to questions. Go ahead.
You need a degree to get into the program?
Yes, you need, I'm glad you asked that. I should have said that. You need an associate's degree as well as 1 to 2 years of experience in a related field, as well as a certain credential. We have a list of 6 credentials, I think, because this is not an entry-level profession. It does require some pretty advanced skills and knowledge in areas of clinical care, documentation, medical coding, medical billing, and that sort. So, and it's an associate's degree plus a credential.
Thank you.
Yes.
Are there other
Welcome.
questions? Regent Cohen.
I very much like the fact that you addressed that you have a marketing plan. I was wondering if in your marketing plan, there's an outreach through the medical society or those kinds. I assume this could also apply to dentists in the code, oral surgeons in the coding that would be a source of finding students.
Sure, I had not considered dentists, the dental arena, but that is certainly something that we can consider. But yes, we have connections with quite a few medical organizations, societies, membership organizations already that are that would hold these people that already have these credentials who may want to jump in and develop these new skills for a new pathway to a new profession. So there's
Physical therapists. There's a lot of miscoding going on.
Yes, that is true.
Trust me. I get these letters all the time and say, we need more information. Ask your doctor to resubmit or whatever.
Yes, that's exactly true.
Physical therapists now need doctorates. So, they have the prerequisites probably to do this stuff.
Absolutely. We hadn't thought about that either. Usually they have to, the credentials where we are requiring are either an LPN or RN or a medical coding credential. So a physical therapist probably wouldn't have one of those credentials, but they could certainly find an interest in this, and they could get one of those credentials by taking the medical coding certificate at Charter Oak and then taking the 5 additional courses to look for a CDI credential.
Some of them have doctorates.
Yes.
So, maybe that could add another link to the credentials that you require,
And just piggybacking on what Naomi's saying is that if it's a big physical therapist office, they probably could use somebody that's doing their coding and need this person, in that office. It may not be the physical therapist, but it may be somebody working within the office.
Most definitely.
Okay. Are there any other questions? Okay, hearing none, I will take a vote on the motion to approve the clinical documentation improvement C3 certificate at Charter Oak State College. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's a good use of the expertise that you've built up at the college, so it's very much appreciated.
Thanks.
Business administration, this is item 2 under new programs, sports management option, associate degree AS at Gateway Community College. It's on page 109 of your agenda. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second. We have a motion and Holly seconded it. I think she didn't say if that's
I was on mute. Second, we're good.
Okay.
Aviva, you get the next 100 pages.
Bye.
Okay. Dr. Kuchnick.
Thank you, Chair Harris. Gateway Community College seeks approval of a new program in business administration sports management option leading to an Associate of Science. Jobs available to students with an associate degree with a sport management focus include facility and event management, sports sales, coaching, public relations, as well as fitness management at health clubs. For students who wish to complete a baccalaureate credential, Gateway is working with Southern Connecticut State University's sport management program to build a strong transfer track and have outlined and agreed upon a 2+2 program which will provide seamless transfer. Dean Kaczynski will speak to this proposal and introduce colleagues to elaborate and answer questions as needed. Dean Kaczynski.
You're on mute, Mark.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Sorry. Thank you, Dr. Kluchnik. And good morning, Chair Harris and Regents. We're really excited to bring this program forward. It's been percolating now for almost 2 years. We hope to have it before you a little earlier, but we, with the COVID, we are ready to go. I'm joined by 2 people who really know this program very thoroughly. First, our program architect and our resident expert, Professor Todd Degree. I'm going to turn this over to him and let him explain this program's strengths and its many opportunities for students. Also joining him is our Department Chair of Business, Professor Sherry Valentin. And following their remarks, we'll take your questions. So thank you.
Thank you very much for having us. Ken listed a good bit of some of what I was going to say in regard to specifically the jobs. I just wanted to hit upon a few key areas in addition to those jobs. Sport jobs are seen as a growing area. They have been a growing area for a while, not just within the country, but specifically within the state of Connecticut. As the paperwork you all have in front of you shows, we have a large number of sport venues in Connecticut. We also have 23 colleges, which all need some level of sport management. Obviously, you also have an ability to transfer to Southern for their bachelor's degree, as well as master's degree. Gateway would be the only community college in Connecticut with this sport management option. However, sport management programs are popular at community colleges throughout the country. New York, for example, has a good number of them. We would be the only one. How this program was also put together is so it has the ability to be completed online. Does not mean students have to take all of their courses online. It means that they would be taking the sport management area courses online. So if a student is on the other side of Connecticut, if they're at Manchester, if they're at Three Rivers, wherever, they can take some of the other courses that are within the program, your macroeconomics, your microeconomics, et cetera, they can take them on ground there. So they have multiple abilities. It's not strictly an online program, but the ability is there for students who don't want to. And I think all of us in the classroom have realized, been forced to realize really in this last year, year and a half, that students do like that ability. We do have this strong relationship with Southern to the point where in speaking with them, get into their sport management program. We're not accepted. And they are very open to sending them down the street to us to get started in that. So we have a very well-established feeder program. The other thing is, I don't like to really talk about this, but we didn't have to hire anybody. I've spent a long period of I have an undergraduate in sport management. I've worked in the sport field for years. So I hate the term area expert when talking about myself, but I'm the area expert. We didn't have to go out and find anybody. You know, I'm able to teach all these courses. We're really only introducing 2 new courses to the system and really only 4 courses to Gateway, one of which we offered as a special topics course, and it went over very well. So at this point, I think I'll open it up to any questions people may have.
Questions? No questions. Okay. That's great. This is another example of, I think, what we're going to be able to do very easily with one college, because the student won't have to apply to take the economics course somewhere else and then finish the degree with you. And it's going to really be very positive for students as we move forward. And I think for the whole system that way. Hearing no questions, I will take a vote on the motion. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you very much. I love your name. Did you go into higher education because of your
Thank
last name? Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. The next one is the integrative. It's item 3, integrative biological diversity, an MS at Southern Connecticut State University 2020. And if you recall, we had a long discussion about this program with Western because it is designed to be a joint program, a collaborative program. So we've heard some of the issues before, and hopefully we'll get an update on Western as we move forward with this discussion. Dr. Klutznick.
Thank you, Chair Harris. Southern Connecticut State University seeks approval of a new program in integrative biological diversity leading to a Master of Science. This program represents an important step in the development of a very innovative collaboration for the Connecticut State Universities, as you mentioned, Chair Harris. In an effort to support affordability and better use of the resources the state has already invested, this degree draws together biology and environmental science faculty from Southern and Western with a longer-term goal of involving faculty from all CSCU University campuses. Was previously approved by the BOR for Western. And once again, I'll turn to Associate Vice President Trudy Milbourne to speak and introduce colleagues as needed.
Thank you, Dr. Klucznik. It's my pleasure to introduce the Dean of Arts and Sciences, Dr. Bruce Kulk. He'll speak to this and introduce the current coordinator of the program.
Thank you, Dr. Milbourne. And I'm joined today by Professor Susan Casado of Southern's Department of the Environment, Geography, and Marine Sciences. This proposal is a truly unique endeavor within the state. It leverages pre-existing faculty and infrastructure assets of Western's and Southern's biology departments and Southern's Department of the Environment, Geography, and Marine Sciences. Courses that would be offered anyway will experience increased enrollments, while tuition revenue will increase. The program is consistent with Southern's commitment to sustainability, and it aligns well with our recent forays into the blue economy. At Western, some of the students are international. Some of the students are high school teachers seeking to broaden their content knowledge base. The hands-on nature of the fieldwork is a distinctive quality of integrative biological diversity. Career pathways for graduates of this program are diverse, including environmental consulting, land use planning, and wildlife biology, for attracting external funding as well. I'd welcome any questions from the regents, and thank you for your consideration.
Questions?
Yeah.
Viva?
I have a few questions. Does this program exist now at Western? And
Yes, it
says-
does.
You say that there are 30 students in this master's program today at Western. Is that what I read in the material? Am I correct? It says the enrollment for Western is 30. Can you confirm that?
I believe that's accurate. I was just trying to pull up my notes. This is Missy from Western, but that would make sense since we had approximately 12 in the first cohort and approximately 13 or 14 in the second. So at any given time, there could be 30 students.
Have any graduated yet? I'd be
Yes.
curious to know what kind of jobs they may have gotten in Connecticut from this program. If they're teachers that are, I can understand the teachers wanting to get a master's because clearly that's a subject that they probably weren't trained for when they originally got their degrees. But I'd be curious to know what kind of other jobs might be available for these graduates.
So I will defer to my colleagues to expand on that, but I will just tell you the first couple of graduates have been, I don't know what their positions have been. I know that they have been involved in many of the environmental and reserves in Connecticut. So the land trust areas, working for DEEP, et cetera, but I don't know if they were working there and then they they added to their credential or they moved in. I will say that in the first or the second cohort, we are tentatively able to say that we have an NSF fellow. So it's a prestigious award, and the feedback to the program has been very positive. We are excited to have Southern complete this process because we are getting continued interest from abroad, but it has to be full-time for them to come. So we need this partnership to continue.
I see. So my other question is can they get the same kind of involvement in the environmental job market with a bachelor's, or is the master's necessary? I can understand the international interest in a master's because many people internationally are looking for further credentials, either to take back to where they are or to, if it's online, to do it online. Do you have any idea whether this master's is essential for the career in
So I think that, again, I think that the disciplinary experts from Southern are probably better versed, but as a representative from Western who's already got students in this, I will say that the few students there are some students that are using this to go on for PhD. Some are using it to go to lab. Now, where they're going, again, we're too early to know where all of that's actually happening. But if you take that NSF award as an example, that student is to develop skills in analyzing organisms to prepare her for the next level. So that would mean that master's is necessary. Whether the other programs, the land trusts really want the master's or find it a value add, I'm not sure. Perhaps my colleagues from Southern can speak to that.
Well, certainly those public school teachers who need to obtain a master's degree would need the advanced degree program. And I'd like to defer to Professor Casado, who is the content expert in this field.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bruce. There's two reasons that I think students would consider a master's seriously. And one is it's like every other profession. There's always an entry-level position, and I think very often our undergraduates stay at a ranger position for, say, New Haven Parks or for DEEP. But if you want to get into more management, overseeing staff, having more academic training and background, depth of background is certainly useful. So those students, we have a master's in environmental studies now. We have a number of students that are looking for those different types of opportunities. So the graduate program does come, especially if they're looking to move up. The second thing is that this program is unique in that it's called an applied science program. And this is a hands-on research program, skill-based, taking courses in GIS and lab courses. When students do a general environmental studies or a basic biology program, very often they have limited expertise or opportunity to do any research on their own. And they may have a course where they go out into the field and do some sampling, but they don't really have extensive hands-on research experience. And this is what that master's program offers. And I would think with all the changing environmental issues we have now, from climate change to microplastics in the water to Long Island Sound issues, that having students have the opportunity to study with a particular faculty member, and that's why I like the collaboration. I mean, most of the biology, the integrated biology people at Westcon are biologists. And now at Southern, we bring kind of the physical science strength with looking at more of the shoreline, using GIS and drones, which is a critical skill now for students to have if you're going to be doing any environmental research. So we build on each university's strength academically, and the students get the rare opportunity at the graduate level to really focus on what they want. I hope that answers your question.
It more than does so, and thank you very much. It's an area which I appreciate your educating me in. It's a much broader, it sounds like a much broader base of potential students than I thought initially.
Oh, thank you.
I need a motion, and then
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Holly, Viva. Holly, okay. I realize I can take one, okay? Regent Cohen?
I remember this discussion when Western developed the program. Do we keep any data on what happens to the students after they leave?
I'll just step in because we've only just graduated the first couple. Yes, we're keeping in touch with them.
The perfect time to start a little unofficial database, because I think as you explain it, the program has a lot of potential and need. And going forward, I could see it especially as a marketing tool for people to know that the Connecticut State universities have this unique opportunity, and look what's happened to our people.
And I will say that the program director at WCSU has been very active in that, getting us recognized on a lot of different listservs that recommend their students to these kinds of programs, and having a lot of public events around the research. So we've had a lot, even in COVID, with the Zoom ability, we've had a lot of people in and raising our profile on this. And I think when with Southern fully approved on this will grow even farther in terms of joint sessions on that and raising the profile in the state. So I agree with you. And
keeping the data, I think, is really important.
May I add something that just made me think of? I learned from Dora at Westcon that there's a very well-respected international website for environmental research that has this program listed as the #2 globally. So there aren't that many programs like this out there also. Just want to add that.
Okay. Thank you very much. And I'd like to take a vote on the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Locke. We really like the collaborative nature of this to build on the strengths of our wonderful faculty. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Harris.
Okay, the last item for approval of new programs is item 4, curriculum and instruction, a Master of Science at Southern Connecticut State University on page 120. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second? Okay, I saw Holly shake her head. Dr. Kutznick.
Thank you. Connecticut State University seeks approval of a new program in curriculum and instruction leading to a Master of Science. This Master of Science will allow candidates with a bachelor's degree in teaching certification the opportunity to obtain their master's degree. Importantly, this new program is at the heart of the university's desire to become a leader in social justice. Associate Vice President Trudy Milburn, once again, will speak to this proposal and introduce colleagues to elaborate and answer questions as needed.
Thank you, Dr. Kluchnik. I have with me the Dean of the College of Education, Dr. Stephen Hegedus, and his colleagues will elaborate for your elucidation today.
Thank you, Dr. Milburn. Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Great, thank you. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for allowing me a little bit of feedback. I'm sorry. Okay, thank you for granting me the opportunity to present to you this morning. I just want to give a few minutes of some background. I'm here today with my colleague, Dr. Adam Goldberg, who is the chairperson of the Department of Curriculum and Instruction here at Southern Connecticut State University, who is helping lead this proposal going forward. This proposal really came from as a result of what we had to do about 5 years ago in decoupling our master's programs from the teacher cert. And I presented a very long packet to the board and the committees back then in how we had to reconfigure many programs. And that led actually to a very productive set of new proposals. One was the recent the approved MAT program here at Southern with various concentrations. And then here today, we took that opportunity to reconfigure our master's program in education so that it became more effective in what teachers need today in schools. So this program is a reconfiguration, but really is new, and it's helping those teachers who have already become certified to teach, but need to move from their provisional to professional licensure status as per the Connecticut Board of Education requirements. We reconfigured it to meet the needs of teachers in our schools here in Connecticut today. We listened to them. The various concentrations are in STEM, in literacy, and also broad themes around social justice. We want to be sure it's affordable, and we are putting forward also support through our scholarship funds that we have here that continue to shepherd funds through to about $100,000 a year in supporting our undergrad and graduate students through our SHE scholarship funds, particularly with respect to our minority educator recruitment initiative. We're again, the budget is not seeking any new full-time hires. This is really not new as such, but it's a reconfiguration. There are some adjunct numbers included in our budget, and we can discuss that if there are any questions. But we believe that this will be really an effective program to help and support our teachers in schools today. And as I said, I'm here with Dr. Adam Goldberg. He can speak to the specifics and the academic content of the program as needed. Thank you very much for the opportunity to present to you all today.
Are there questions for Dr. Goldberg? Yes, Regent Cohen.
I'm interested in knowing about the diversity makeup of the teaching faculty in this program.
Sure, that's a great question and something that we continually strive to make more diverse. We just had a new hire come on board this year who that is her area. She is a woman of color and she studies that in education, and we're real excited about her. And she had a lot of input into the courses and the concentrations. We also have some adjuncts that bring diversity as well, and we're always trying to obviously to get more students of color and increase the diversity there. I think one of the great things about this program, and we're really proud about this program, but one of the core classes that everyone is going to take is a Teaching for Equity and Justice course. And it was put together by a couple of faculty members who really are experts on a national stage for equity and justice. They do a lot of work in Connecticut as well. So I think that's a great question and something we're always working toward.
I'd just like to add to Dr. Goldberg, the faculty who we've recently hired has also joined me in chairing our Minority Ed initiative, and her research is in recruiting and retaining young men of color. So it's very timely, and I believe it's really strategic and aligned with our mission. Thank you.
Thank you. Other questions? I'll call for a vote then on the motion to approve Master of Science in Curriculum and Instruction at Southern Connecticut State University. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda, oops. I think I'm okay. The next item on the agenda is the faculty awards on page 144. We do this every year. It is really an exciting way of honoring our junior faculty who have shown expertise in teaching and in research, both at the CSU level and at the community colleges. This was a program, a CSU program initially, and when we became when they became under one board, we expanded it to our community colleges as well. And we also, I believe, at that time added on adjunct professors. So I am going to turn this over to Dr. Klutznick. I think that you should also know this is a monetary award. No one's going to get rich on the amount of money, but it is just a small token of our appreciation for their hard work. Dr. Klutznick.
We're asking Dr. Alani to commute between Danbury and New Haven. Dr. Alani won the System Award for CSU teaching and in fact teaches at Western and not at Southern. And we've corrected that documentation. We'll go to the board with the correction made. And I would just like to add that this is a great process and it really honors our faculty. And in particular, I would like to thank all the people involved. There's a lot of work behind getting to where we are right now. And it begins with the people who who nominate the nominees and assemble the packages, and the nominees themselves were asked to put in considerable effort into their packages that they were forward, which is the beginning of the process. There's a prior award winners actually serve as volunteers to read all of these nominations, to score them so that we can select the system winners from the campus and college level winners. I want to offer a special thank you to Noreen Wilson, who actually handles all the paperwork that comes into this office and manages sorting through all of it and getting it to the right people and collecting all the right things. And she did a wonderful job of doing this year. And finally, I'd like to congratulate all of the award winners.
Thank you. I didn't take a motion yet, and I will in a minute. We usually have all the award winners come to a board meeting, and we didn't do that last year, obviously. We are trying to work on a way of doing it online. It gets a little complicated because there's so many people involved, but we are talking about it, and hopefully we will have a way of recognizing both the teaching work of our outstanding faculty and their research. So stay tuned. We might just have to do it in the fall when hopefully we'll be able to be together. But we're going to try to do something before then, and we'll let you know. So may I have a motion to approve the awards for this year, the faculty awards?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Then we'll have a vote on the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The motion carries, and thank you to all the people that have worked on this. It's a major endeavor to get all this together, and I know Pat has usually the last or so part of this and getting the certificates when we've done it in person, and I'm sure we'll try something again like that. So I thank everyone for all of their work and time to an important way of recognizing an outstanding faculty, both junior faculty and obviously faculty that have been with us for many years. So thank you again, and you'll hear more about how we complete the circle this year. Let's move on to honorary degrees on page 153. We didn't do this last time because of the miscommunication of timing, but it's really important to bring this forward. We don't have as many honorary degrees actually this year because of the unknown nature of how we're going to do commencement. But I think we have 4 or 5 institutions, Ken, remember from last time? I think we had 4.
I think it was 3 institutions last time with 4 there were 4 honorary degree recipients in 3 institutions.
Right, and so this adds a 4th institution and a 5th honorary degree. May I have a motion to approve Eastern Connecticut State University's honorary degree?
So moved.
Second.
A second, we have a motion and a second. Any questions? Okay, I'll vote on the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Now let's go on to the next item, which is page 157. This is delegation of authority for conferring honorary degrees. And you did receive by email a slightly modified resolution. We have legal staff look at it just to make sure it was okay. And we're voting on that new resolution. Ken, do you think do you want to read it, or?
I actually don't have a copy of it, Chair Harris.
Okay. Do you, Pat? Okay. I think it's just.
Merle,
Yeah.
I have it if you want it read into the record.
Yeah, please, just because there are people online that don't have it.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
It's a reading of the resolution concerning delegation of authority for conferring honorary degrees for commencement ceremonies 2021, dated April 9th, 2021. Whereas the CSCU policy 1.3, granting honorary degrees approved on March 15th, 2012, via board resolution 12-19, provides for honorary degrees to be awarded to honor persons who advance the work and reputation of the Connecticut State Colleges and Universities. And whereas the policy further states that all honorary degrees are granted by the Board of Regents upon the recommendation by the university or college president and conferred by the chairperson of the Board of Regents or by a regent designated by the chairperson. And whereas based on concerns for the ongoing pandemic and social distancing during the hooding ceremony, the Board of Regents delegates the authority for conferring honorary degrees to the university and college presidents. Now therefore be it resolved, the university and college presidents are authorized to confer honorary degrees for the 2021 commencement ceremonies.
Thank you. Thank you very much. May I have?
So moved.
Yeah, a second. All right, any questions? We'll have a vote on the motion then. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, the motion carries. The next item is low completer programs on page 158. And I want to thank Dr. Kluchnik for astounding work on this. I sort of pressed the issue to make sure we had as much information as possible, because I think we all need to see the work that is done in program review based on that, when there are low completer programs, to really look at those very carefully. And I think you will see from many of the programs that we have extensive efforts outlined for marketing, which is critical. And also,
And I ran back. Oh my God, when you miss this presentation, I came back and what happened?
someone has, okay. Also, we have, as I was saying, we also have on there sometimes an explanation of why a low completer program is really necessary to continue, because those courses are used by so many other programs at the institution. So we're open to one. This is an acceptance of the report. I'll turn it over to Dr. Kluchnik to expand upon that a little bit, and then we will be open to questions. So first, a motion to accept the report.
So moved.
Holly, a second.
Second.
All right, we're open to discussion then. Dr. Kluchnik, will you introduce that a little more for us?
Sure. Thank you, Chair Harris. Per board policy, each CSU program must go through an academic program review at least once every 7 years. As part of each CSCU institution's annual academic program review process, board policy also requires that a report be forwarded for each program reviewed that meets the criteria of a low completer. This year marks the first formal consolidated low completer report to the board, which you see in your packet. This report lists low completer programs identified by each CSCU institution during its annual review of programs and provides information about recommendations based on the board policy for each of these programs. Those recommendations fall within 4 categories. 1 is termination, 2 is suspension, 3 is consolidation, and 4 is continuation with revision. And relevant to all of those categories, relevant to the last 2 categories, is whether the program has 0 fiscal impact on the institution or not. So the System Office Division of Academic and Student Affairs seeks board acceptance of this report.
I'm sure there's some questions. Are there from members
I have
of the
a
board?
question.
Aviva?
Yeah, I guess I don't understand the process. By approving the report, I assume we're not necessarily approving the decision to continue low completers, but rather the receipt of the report. Because I have questions about some of the decisions. Certainly Middlesex had 14 continuations out of 20 low completers. What is the process of reviewing that?
I just want to add one thing. We have a policy, and the policy I think is important. We had a lot of discussion about this. Some of it was a little controversial when we acted upon it. If there is a specific decision that you question a little bit, you need more information on, what we can do, or what you can do, is ask that the institution take another look at it and come back to us. We don't have the authority to say, no, you have to, at this point, discontinue the program. This really is just to make sure that our institutions are looking carefully at things that we have concerns about. So I'm sure that the first time around they did, but sometimes we see something that the institution may not have seen, or we question something. So this is your opportunity. If there are specific programs that you would like an institution to look at, we can ask for that. But that the report itself can be either accepted or not accepted. I believe is that accurate, Dr. Kuchner?
Yes, that's my understanding, Chair Harris.
Regent Cohen?
So if, you know, I don't feel any great qualification to decide how the institutions decided to keep 14 out of 20 programs still going. But it just seems to me that in rounded off numbers, you have almost 2/3 of the low completers continuing. So we have this discussion constantly about, you know, when do you pull the plug? Because I don't think anybody questions the value of the programs. But when you have, what it doesn't show you here are how many people actually finish their educations, who are majoring in some of these programs, perhaps. So I'm interested in knowing what, now we have this report, how is it shared with the institutions? What do we say to them about, are you sure going forward? It looks to me like, you know, only 9 of the 56 have no fiscal impact. So we're keeping a lot of programs going that do have a financial impact and yet have few completers or low completers. How do we handle that? Give us some advice, because we ask this all the time.
I'm not going to give you that advice. I'm going to ask a professional to. But one thing that I think is important to note, in a number of these programs, the programs that were not terminated, especially at Middlesex, and we have talked about some of these, actually, we took action on them at past meetings. They are certificate programs that build a career ladder, and very often people go into the associates before they complete the certificate. And we keep on, business and industry keeps asking us to have more certificate programs. They want pathways for our students. And if it doesn't cost more to offer that pathway, then if they go into the associate's degree program, that's a plus. It's not a minus for us. So that's one thing that I do note, and that's true of a number of the Middlesex programs, that you can see that they're certificate programs that are part of the larger program. So that's the only comment that I've noticed when I went back and read it again, that there are a number of programs that fall into that category. We could come back and look at those that don't if you wanted to, but that's something I think it's important to look at as we move ahead. And actually, as I said, we have taken action on a number of these already, some of the changes recommended so that the program would continue.
So what would Western say? They're in a different position because they are not giving certificates, and there goes Missy's hand.
Right, but we looked at both of those revisions, I believe. Their music program, we did look at already because they saw that it was a low completer, and they made major revisions. So we already approved those revisions. Is that correct, Missy?
We're actually in the process in music on 2 of the areas. The NASM review came back, and so we restructured the ensembles. We anticipate that being off this list in another year. You have already voted on suspending the masters while they're redesigning it, which is what we are doing. So we plan that. What I would like to say, and since you asked what happens on our campuses, what you're seeing in my report is a system that is working very well, and the responsibility to tell you that I have low completer programs each year is helpful. It helps us to take that look carefully. So when you see the 4 that are moved forward that we're going to close, that means we went through the full program review process, determined that they were not, it was no longer time to fix them. Final votes are happening on campus in the next month over these programs. We used the review process properly. The social science degrees, of which there are several here, they're just starting their program review process. So we know at the start of the process that we need to be thinking about how to retool for new audiences. So I wouldn't do anything yet because now they're getting started on their work. And then a few of the programs that we've talked about in the past are programs that are really, I don't want to mischaracterize this, but the applied computing degree, for example, is an opportunity for a student to complete a computer degree who is not being successful or not interested in the full BS. So it's all the same courses. There's no financial impact. The one that I would love to point out to you, however, that just because I did want this opportunity to just point this out, because it'll happen again it could happen again with the biodiversity degree, is that the shared degrees have a reporting problem. Because we don't have a common system and a common registration, the EDD in nursing is fine. But the ones who come in through ours versus the ones who come in through Southern are reflected differently. So this is likely to happen again. So as I create this report, I just want to affirm that we're being very responsible. We're following up, we're making plans, and we did move forward some closures as a result of this work, and we'll continue that process with the next round as we look at what's going on. But there are these little moments, like for example, one of them's on there as a legacy. It won't be on there next year. I'm just following up saying that would have been by the measures a low completer, except I know that it's already up to 50 students in the major, right? So in another year, that'll be off that list. So maybe there's some refinement of the timing of these or the delay in when I give you the next piece, but I also want to be clear, we're being very vigilant.
The one, and I raised this issue, why the NAs, if it's a low completer, we must have a number as defined in the policy, and why we don't have a number there.
That's a good question, Chair Harrison. And this is one reason I mentioned that this is the first year for this reporting out. And so I did ask the chief academic officers to be available today for those numbers, should you ask for them for particular programs. When you look at that chart, you'll notice that under the credential, there's a parenthesis number. And just so you know, that's the bar, that's the criterion level. Below that, a program is low completer. And there were several institutions that forgot to put those numbers in. And I did ask those institutions to be available to speak to those numbers. So this is our first time through. Next year, I'm expecting us to be a little more rigorous about making sure all that information is there. But I would follow up on what Provost Alexander said. I think this is a really important process, and that the institutions take this enormously seriously. And it really asks them to do that work in a way without the policy might not be quite as focused. So I really appreciate that. I did want to add one more thing, especially because of Middlesex, because there's a program where Middlesex is looking at consolidation of the program or looking at the program's relationship to College of Technology. And one thing to consider over the next 2 years as these reports come in, very similar to the theater degree from Capital that we looked at earlier, is that many of these programs that might be low completers at a single institution actually exist at other institutions. And so they're actually going to aggregate those numbers. Conversations we've had at the dean's meetings, and this is community college deans, is would we want to discontinue a program at a college when that student will complete at the Connecticut State Community College? It doesn't really make sense to eliminate those programs at this point if those students will transition into the Connecticut State Community College program. So we would be limiting access to programs that will just return on those same campuses 2 years down the road because they'll become statewide programs. So that will also affect the numbers going forward and may certainly affect the decision on the part of colleges to terminate or suspend programs. In order to be able to provide students access to those programs.
Thank you. Holly, do you have a question?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, thank you for the explanation. That really puts the report into greater context for me. I think that really helps me a lot. And then maybe a suggestion for next year, if we've already voted to make modifications to a program that's on this list, then maybe we reflect that in the report itself, to refresh our memories. We do a lot of programs through here every month, so just a suggestion.
Yeah, that's true. We probably don't want to take a different action on a different request on a program we already approved.
Yeah, and the context really helps. So, I
Right,
mean, the
right.
report
So,
itself is interesting, context helps.
we have one,
Can I ask a question?
Mhm.
In this process, where we see, Merle, your comment about certificates embedded in other programs, I understand. I assume it has no fiscal cost and just having one student and so forth. But where there are programs that they're intended to have some action that's going to increase the popularity and the usefulness and the completion, do we wait another 7 years to find out if this happened? I mean, is there an interim process between now and the next review on these programs that are continuation programs and not certificates embedded in another program or coordinated with another program?
I think we have a difficult situation right now that was pointed out to us that I think we need to wait until the consolidation.
Right. But on a general, I understand the consolidation is like 2 years away, so it's too complex. But in general, what would one do? Well, it's 1 year, but you have an opportunity to operate for another year.
Yeah.
But my question is, what in general has happened in the past where you've had low completers that have a description of what they intend to do and change the course and so forth?
We haven't had this before. This is the first time we've had this report because we've requested it to get a better look at low completer programs.
I see.
And we've had program review for a number of years, but we never really take it that next step to look carefully at the low completer. So this is the first step at doing this. So I think Holly already suggested some improvements. I think that's what we have to look at, some improvements. And if you see something on here, though, that is glaring, this is an opportunity to ask the institution to take another look at it. I mean, that's what it really gives us a chance to say, Western, we love what you're doing. And I'm just using that because I see Missy on this picture. We really want you to take another look at that. And frankly, I do want to say Western's been really looking carefully. There are some institutions that I think have been doing an excellent job at program review and low completer programs. So Western has suspended things to make sure that they look carefully at them. They've modified programs. So that is happening. I think what this does to a large extent is say, you know, people are looking over your shoulder, do a complete job on low completers. You do have the opportunity, if you see something that really troubles you, to ask for the institution to go back and then to come back to us again. That is the opportunity. That's why we have the policy. Holly?
And Merle, this is a report we'll get every year, right? This isn't.
Yes, you'll get it on different programs.
This isn't okay. So.
Yeah, well, this is the first time. I think we approved the policy about 2 years ago, and then we had COVID, and so we didn't do it last year at this time. But yes,
well,
have every year.
Yeah, just to give a little more history, Chair Harris, that when this was originally adopted by the board, the institutions were asked to visit all of their programs for their completion levels. And there was a report that came out at that time. But after that initial report, the requirement is to look at every program that's being reviewed that year for low completer status. So you will see different programs every year.
And the reason we've done that is it gives really a chance when you're looking at a program, you're really going in depth into curriculum already. You very often have outside people on that committee that can contribute to program improvement, suggestions, what's happening in other places. So it would seem like a good time to really take an intensive look.
Well, I must say, not having examined these with that in mind, I'm not in a position to approve some of them. For example, looking at Central Connecticut State University's music program, they look and they say they have 3 completers, but they're going to continue it with the expectation of making revisions, because to discontinue it would affect the program going forward. I understand that. How does one say, how about having another review of this program within 2 years? Let's say, how does one pick and choose? And personally, I have not examined these. With that, the certificates concern me a lot less, because most of them are all embedded in other programs. But the music program, for example, at Central, which I just happened to be looking at again, is an example of what I would love to have a better understanding of before. I apologize for not having
No, it's because
understood that.
the first time, I understand. Ken, didn't we do something with some of the music programs at Central?
I don't recall anything in particular.
Well, I may be confusing it with Western, but
Western, yeah.
I remember the discussion of the National Association of Schools of Music. And they wanted the program revised. So is anyone here from Central?
Yes.
Yes.
Dr. Yes, I'm here. Yes, we visit as well. Can you hear me?
Yeah, now we can.
Okay. We just had an accreditation visit as well, and we have that report. We're working through that response to NASM right now. Our music program, we did suspend our master's program, which was running in a summer mode, essentially. And so we are looking to revise that entire program because that one was not very cost effective. Our bachelor's program, we have both a music education program, kind of a freestanding one, and it doesn't combine with the others because it is a K-12 program, and the others being the other teacher ed program. So it's kind of stands alone, and those numbers stand alone. We also have a Bachelor of Arts in Music, which has 3 different specializations. So, among the things we'll be looking at are probably looking to maybe consolidate those 3 specializations, to maybe pull them together, seeing what we can do to perhaps bring the enrollments in both the music education program and the BA in music closer together. We found a little bit of the accrediting agency questioned whether we had a clear match between our declared mission in the program and what the students are actually understanding. So we have a number of issues to work through, but we're in the process of doing that right now.
Yeah, and it was the masters that I remember
The
that.
masters, yes,
I
right.
had something in my head,
Right.
not the bachelors. So I think these are it's ongoing, as you can see. What there was is program review was a trigger, as well as obviously national or accrediting agencies to look at this. And that's why I think some of them you could ask to come back. But I agree with Aviva, this is new. We probably haven't looked at it as carefully as we should. So maybe what we should do today is approve acceptance of the report and have an opportunity at either the next meeting or the meeting afterwards, either May or June, to have looked at this more carefully. And in the meantime, you could have identified some programs that we can then bring forward as those that we would like the institution to look at a little more carefully. Does that seem reasonable?
I would like that. I wanted to mention one other thing that I happened to notice. Southern has reported continuation, minor modifications. I mean, that's something we really can't review, particularly with the foreign languages, where you have completions of 0, of 0.6, of well, it's a 3-year completion, so I don't know that 3 years is appropriate for Southern.
It's an average. It's a 3-year average.
Oh, 3-year average, good enough. I
right.
thought it was 3 years completion for a 4-year
No.
institution. But
No.
it looks like that you need a lot more than minor modifications if you're getting 0 completions.
Again, that's in some of these if you're in a language program, a lot of people are taking foreign language classes that are not going for the degree. So that's something the institution has to look at. Am I correct on that one, Ken?
That's correct. Yes.
So
We
you
have
have
it
to decide if it's, maybe the degree is not the way to judge it. Maybe they're not low completers if in fact it's a,
Yeah.
1-year course. I don't know, but it
No,
doesn't
no,
give me enough information to make a judgment that this
What
is
I'm saying is you may have a Spanish major in a language program, and there aren't that many of them, unfortunately. But you do have people that are taking Spanish, freshman and sophomore years, who are not majoring in Spanish, but are taking it for other reasons. They need to meet a requirement. They happen to be good in language, and they want it for nursing because they're going to work in an environment that will call upon the individual to have that expertise. And sometimes you can get a job more easily if you have another language. So there are a lot of reasons that people might be taking the courses, but those are the ones, if you aren't satisfied with the explanation, you could ask
for an explanation.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Thanks. That's helpful. Your explanation is helpful. It would be nice to know how many people enrolled in this course at any time. Maybe they have 30 enrollees and it's not a completion, as you say. It's not a course you can measure in the same format.
Yeah, I mean, there's a difference between enrolling in a course or obviously being in a program.
Right,
And so you're going to have a lot of people taking the courses within a major.
Yeah, in the program, but it's secondary. It's not.
So unless someone wants to disagree, what I'm going to suggest is that we accept the report with some comments that we already have made about what we would like to see the next time around, and that members of the committee look at the report in a little more carefully, a little more detail, including I probably should do the same thing because I probably haven't looked at it as carefully as I should, and come back to Ken, because we don't want to do any FOI problems, go back to Ken and with course, programs that you have identified that you might want to talk about at a future meeting. And then after that discussion, you could decide if it's all fine, let's just go ahead, or if you want the institution to do something else by looking more carefully at it. Does that seem acceptable?
I appreciate that.
Okay, then let's just move on the acceptance of the report. All in favor of that motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so we know that, and I guess we know what we should do for within. I would suggest we get back to Ken within the next couple of weeks, so that we have an idea of what direction we want to take. Okay?
Thank you.
And one more item, I believe. Well, yes, one more item before the just informational items, and this again is something that we haven't done. We've had problems. We've always had a ceremony where our community college students who are receiving this academic honor, and that's all on page 173, have done this in person. I think I was once at a ceremony at the General Assembly, so that legislators also could honor these very talented community college graduates. So what we're doing here is not really a good substitute, but it's a substitute of at least recognizing these individuals for their very hard work and for their talent. So I'm going to ask them for a motion to approve ESCU Phi Theta Kappa All Kinetic PTK, Phi Theta Kappa, all Connecticut academic team as noted on page 173. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and second. Anyone want to make any comments or have any questions?
I suggest that, I assume we're going to send an individual copy to each of the people on the list. I suggest that we make some kind of a little video composite, something that we put on our website that talks about, or lets the students talk about who they are and what they've done. And we also alert the people on the appropriations committee and education committees of the General Assembly that the video exists.
Terrific.
I think we don't get enough credit, and the students don't get enough credit. And
Yep, I agree. I agree. That's a great suggestion. I'll make a Pam, I think, and we'll get Lee involved, and we'll take it forward from there. I agree that that's really important, and it's helpful in our entire outreach to see that community colleges serve such talented individuals and help them advance in their college education.
yeah, we have people who know how to do that within our system, who know how to put stuff together. And maybe, maybe every college puts something on its website of who the people are.
Right.
I will take.
Now that people run around with video cameras in their hands that they use as cell phones, it's quite a bit easier nowadays to get people to contribute video.
Unless you're me, Holly, but that's a whole different discussion.
I'll come over anytime, Naomi. We'll get you going on YouTube. It'll be fine.
It is really interesting.
I'm sorry, Merle, I've just added that to my to-do list to work with public relations and communications to create a video spotlight, as well as government relations to work with the governor's office and all legislative committees that should know about this. So I've added that to my to-do list for you.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
We love adding to everyone's to-do list.
Thank you. This is Jane speaking. It's a great idea, Regent Cohen, and I've been honored again this year to serve as the keynote speaker for this group. So we're also in the process with Terry of working out the logistics of the ceremony and what that awards ceremony will look like. I think it's a great idea, as well as the other recognitions that these students will receive. Thank you.
That's a perfect way of getting a video from it's already being done, so that can be incorporated into what Regent Cohn was just talking about. That's wonderful.
Yes.
Okay. Other comments? You see a bunch of information items below threshold. Those will get reported to the Office of Higher Education. Yes, Pat?
Do you need to vote on the last item?
Oh, yeah, thank you. We should. We got so excited about
After all that.
That's right, about honoring. We never voted to honor them. Okay, may I have a do we have a motion, Pat?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? How could you be opposed? Motion carries. Any other comments, questions before we move to adjourn? Okay, 11:30, and it was a long agenda.
Without compliments, Chair Harris, I move to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, thank you all very, very much. I think it was a productive meeting, and I appreciate your time. Have a wonderful day today and tomorrow. Enjoy the last, I hope not the last glimpses of spring, but we're going to have some rain on Sunday. Okay.
Merle, I want to point one thing out after the meeting. Okay.
Oh.
Can you stay on 1 second?
Yes, sure.
Great.
So I'll leave the meeting open. I'll stop the recording. I'm ending the stream.
Thank you.
Merle, there's a typo in the fact